Hello and welcome to today's podcast, The Future of Medicine Embracing the Paradigm Shift. I'm your host Purnima Shukla. And today we are diving into revolutionary concepts in the medical field that are not only redefining our understanding of health and disease, but also setting new benchmark in treatment and healing. We are honored to have with us two distinguished guests who are at the forefront of this medical revolution. First, we have Dr. Ulrich Randoll, a pioneer in cellular biology and the developer of the matrix rhythms therapy. His research of the University of Erlangen in Germany led to the development of the matrix concept, which focuses on optimizing extracellular process through innovating treatment modalities. Dr. Randoll is also the founder of the Dr. Randoll Institute, a non-profit organization dedicated to advancing matrix research and integrating these groundbreaking findings into therapeutic practice for the public benefit. Joining us as well is Mr. Munish, the visionary CEO of Health Reactive. Under his leadership, Health Reactive has built upon the legacy of body revival, which has been enhancing lives since 1996. While the product has a rich history, recent clinical trials have provided fresh insights and robust scientific backing, demonstrating body revival's efficacy in improving quality of life and progression-free survival for cancer patients. Mr. Khan will share his perspective on the strategic and operational aspects of bringing body revival into the spotlight with these new research findings. Oh wow, sitting along with both you gentlemen is like dreaming with an open eyes because only I and my team knows how hard we have tried to have both of you here together. So, welcome. Thank you so much for coming here. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much.
So, gentlemen, before I start formally begin with these podcast interviews and questions, I would like to spotlight the theme of this podcast so we can get a better idea and understanding what we are discussing today. Okay?
Yeah.
So, today we are trying to discuss the paradigm shift. Viewers, today conversation will explore the paradigm shift in medicine from traditional symptom-based treatments to process-oriented approaches that consider the logistics of nutrients, distribution, and cellular health. We will also discuss how body revival is setting trends in the health market by offering a holistic approach to regeneration and immunity. Additionally, we'll touch upon how India's rich Ayurvedic heritage, supported by forward-thinking policies of the Indian government under the esteemed leadership of Indian Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. So we have our two distinguished guests today whom we are going to discuss what is paradigm shift, how matrix concept work. First of all, I would like to start with Dr. Randoll. Dr. Randoll, our viewers want to know who is Dr. Randoll, why he's in India. What is matrix concept?
So thank you for the invitation first. What is matrix concept? Maybe I start a little bit with my background. My background is maxillofacial surgery. So many years ago, I was in Erlangen University doing research, especially on cancer patients. And the research starts because we had failures in our treatments. We used all the classical disciplines like chemotherapy, radiation, and operation. But the things failed very often, and so you can very easily say I have the right concepts, but I have the wrong patients. Or you say I maybe have the right patients and the wrong concepts. That means where the results fail, your innovation is needed. And so I started to pose the question, where does the pain come from? You have a personal pain, it's very individual, but now we want to treat individual pain just randomized with randomized studies. Is it possible? And so, as it is individual, also the cancer is quite individual. Of course, you see at the end the structural changes in the, for example, squamous cells, but everybody has its own entrance to tumor. So I try to find out now the principles of cell division And so I took video microscopes. These were high resolution video microscope where I saw in resolution about 250 nanometers. I could see inside the living cell. So that was totally new also for the pathologists, just to see inside the plasma and the nucleus of the cells. So far we had to stain these cells, and that was the beginning of a long story. And more in my doing of experiments, just changing the environment of the cell. This is just in analogy to change the water around the fish. If you compare a fish to a cell, you just have to change the water in the aquarium, and then of course the fish will be happy if it's positive around, or negative. If you have a negative surrounding, then the fish is suffering. And in this analogy, I try to do my total medicine up to now. That means, first of all, the question is how can you get substances, either chemotherapy or other nutritions, our normal nutrition, carbohydrates, fatty acids, and proteins around the cell, and therefore you need logistics. So we are here in Mumbai, and sometimes we have traffic jam. That's was the reason we were late. And so the whole logistics is shifting. And this principle you have also in your body. You have the substances, but when the logistics are just sticky areas, closed streets, then it doesn't arrive. And so I was dealing now with the processes of a human being. And then I saw that in classical medicine, we just have always the picture. We make X-rays, NMRs, histological pictures, but then I saw the picture is, the life is not a picture, of course, one picture of a whole movie, and that means it's a process. That means at the end, when we can say today, a symptom is not just a picture, it's the end of a derailed process. Okay. And so this is now the shift coming from structural medicine to processive medicine. That means we are focusing more the time basis than the structural basis.
Okay, fine. As per my understanding, when I'm listening to you, I'm trying to gaze up how it works. So, if I quote the great scientist Einstein, once he said that medicine of the future will be medicine based on frequency. Can we correlate with matrix concept with this statement?
So, of course, Einstein was not stupid.
Yeah.
We cannot say this. So, when he said such a sentence...
How can we correlate with matrix concept?
Yes, I will just bring the bridge to matrix concept. So if he says we have to look to the frequencies, then I transferred this sentence to the shivering of the body, especially muscle shivering. But before we saw, or we see the heart rhythms, the brain rhythms, the breathing rhythms, and also now the shivering of the body. This reminds very much to Lord Shiva, the shivering of the body. And if Shiva gets angry, the body gets sick, we say. And so we have, from the tradition, we find these shiverings and these time-based structures we find everywhere. And now, of course, I turned from structure to process, and especially I was looking for the who's responsible for the microcirculation, because seeing in the microscope we have different hierarchic level in the body. The macroscopic we see with our eyes, the microscopic level, and then of course the conclusion was from a certain point that every disease is a question of microcosm, of microcirculation, and then of course how can I deal and just guide the microcirculation in a sense that I needed it.
Wow, very inspirational and lots of things to learn. I would like to ask Mr. Khan. Mr. Khan, there's very famous idiom which says Rome wasn't built in a day. Means like great things need time, approaches, efforts, and lots of patience. So when it comes to body revival, you are representing body revival. What inspired you to bring this product in market?
Purnima, thank you so much for having me here on your podcast show, and it's an honor to be here with Dr. Randoll, and I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot today from him. And of course, these two separate topics. And see, body revival. When you talk about body revival, it's an Ayurvedic product. It was invented by our company founder Shri Munir Khanji, who's my father as well. and I'll give you a little brief up about the history of body revival. So, something related to what Dr. Randoll is saying, but he's of course he's a researcher and a well-known doctor. So, my father, when I was growing up. In my years, I saw my father always studying different kind of Ayurveda books, and he was always into the books. And he had a mission. He always used to tell us that I want to make a product. I want to make a supplement which can heal a body from inside. You know, when body becomes toxic, that starts getting illness, and when something goes inside and some product, and it detoxify your body and helps to regenerate the cells, uh, that's when the person will start feeling better. That's what is thought. And uh, during 1995 1996 he himself fell very sick, and he used his own product, his own medicine to heal himself. And that's when the journey started from of body revival. He made up a team of his own doctors, and he registered his product, and with the Indian government it's registered with the Ayurveda Vibhag, Ayurveda department. He established one factory. He started manufacturing this product over there in Rajasthan. Then another factory was established in Himachal Pradesh, Baddi. Now we have two units in India, which is mainly manufacturing body revival. And body revival is only to heal the mankind and support their detoxification process. Yes.
So, recent clinical trial have been
Yes.
conducted over breast cancer patients. So, can you give some insights related to that study?
So the clinical trial, I joined this product because first of all it was in family business, and I saw people coming to our offices and meeting my father and his team of doctors, and people being benefited with this product, people being healed with this product without any side effect. So I joined this team, and I had a vision, and I was to say that I was motivated by first of all the progress of Indian government, how our Indian government is promoting what people say alternative therapy. Ayurveda, it's considered as alternative therapy everywhere. So Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji is trying to build Ayurveda as a in to the market on an international level, and that motivate us as a healthcare company, Ayurveda company, to make our product evidence based. So I got connected with the right people at the right time, and this clinical trial started. It went through a proper international protocol of clinical researchers. uh, it was they had to take permission from ethical committee, and it took around 1.5 year to complete the clinical trial. And it was completed, and the results was very wonderful, and it is there on the CTRI portal. The results, anyone can go and read the results. It's open for all healthcare professionals to check body revival's clinical trial.
Yeah.
Yes.
Indian government is supporting Ayurveda in a huge way. We'll discuss it later because this is a very important point to discuss. I will discuss with Dr. Randoll also how government's role is important in such treatments and health sectors. Yeah, holistic approach, whatever is there, how important the government role. But before that, I would like to just give a second. This is a book which is written by Dr. Ulrich Randoll, The Metric Concepts. Dr. Randoll, I want to ask you that this emphasizes the information, formation, and form. Can you explain us what these principles are?
So, the matrix concept, firstly, is a holistic management concept for just cellular systems. That means, how can I manage the cells or the fishes in the water or in the in the extracellular matrix so that they stay healthy? So, and therefore, you have to think about nutrition, about drinkings, about the food in general, how to feed it. And that means the cells need energy. So it's always an energy level. Also, when you're talking about the cancer or normal cell, it's a question of the energy. Where does this energy come from? And how does the cell produce this energy? And now we have the information, formation, form. That means, like an architect, he first has an information, he has the idea of a house, and then he starts, or our divine had maybe a picture how I want to make at the end a human being, and what do I need like this, you know? It's a creative process. And so also building houses is a creative process. You just have a piece of paper and you start to make your drawings, you know, and it's easy to change the ideas. That's not costly. But if you start already with the formation processes, when the lorries are coming, bringing the stones and the doors, the windows, everything, and if you want to change the color of the windows, then it's getting more expensive because the idea has come more and more into the materialistic side of the world. And if the house is finished and you don't like it, then it's very expensive. So this is now the connection between information, formation, form. And this is also with our body. We are what we eat, what we think, and what we do. So everybody is responsible for his shape. So the disease does not come through the window. You produce the disease, and everybody, I always say, has every diseases in his or her body. Yeah. So live a life that no disease comes out.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with Dr. Randoll. I believe in this concept, you are what you eat.
Exactly. And then you talked about the disease. So I want to ask you, what is health and what is disease when it comes to a matrix concept perspective?
Yeah. So if we say that life is a process, would you agree?
Yeah, 100%.
So 100%. And we have no rhythm anymore in our body. It's just structure, it's dead. Right. So, and the processes are the result from certain biochemical processes. So this is the link between time basis and structural basis. And so you can say disease, health, and a healthy body and a diseased body is exactly the same, but a different part of the same process.
Right.
So the human body is like a roly-poly, man. It is just like this, you know, and when you are elastic, always in the middle, then you are very healthy. And the more elastic you are, the more healthy you are. Yeah. But if you are loaded from depression or from toxins or whatever it is, then of course the roly-poly is shifting. And then from a certain point, this information, this shift, comes into structure. And then the classical medicine starts to make a disease when you see something in a picture. But the disease starts earlier. It is the depressive side of state where you compensate. That means drop by drop, your glass is filling with single drops of water, and suddenly it comes to a threshold, and then of course it changes the whole system, and then you have the disease. And this can be only the last drop is responsible for the oversweeping of the water. And so it is health and disease is the same, and we have to find out now solutions by regulation. Yeah. And so far the classical medicine takes a knife and cuts it out, I did it, or you just fight against it by chemotherapy, or you put radiation on it. It's like in a war, you fight against the cancer, you fight against the pain. I take a painkiller, you know. I hate this language in medicine because to treat diseases is a question of regulation and not of fighting against. War is always bad, even in the body. And now the patient has to accept firstly what he has, and now should find solutions, for example, by thinking, where do I feel good, where do I feel bad, what kind of, for example, toxic friends do I have? Toxic family, toxic working place, whatever it is, you know, what gives me the load on my whole system, on my whole individual processes, and how can I change it? Yes, change it, leave it, whatever it is. And so this is my opinion about health and disease.
Yeah, and one more thing I just want to understand, and this is very important to understand as well. At what point molecules become alive in matrix concept? If I want to have an understanding of it.
This is a very nice question, and this answer is not given. You cannot ask any biochemist, and he will give you no answer. And this is why I'm always saying the biochemistry is the dead end of our medical studies, because you're just analyzing dead molecules, and nobody is discussing the life. Then it's said, oh, it's philosophical. But life is there, and life is a process. And when we, at the end, it's not a molecule that is sick. It's the interaction and the dialogue between the quantums, the molecules, or the atoms before. It's always the in-between, and also in-between cells. And at the end, you have the organs, the organisms, and then the whole society. Single people are nice, but in the dialogue sometimes are horrible. Or in between governments, all these things. And this is now the systemic approach where you always have hierarchical systems that are interacting, and the interaction is important. And there you need a certain coherence, and this coherence means to become healthy. When we are totally tuned, we are in resonance, and then we can shift information. And so the healing process means always to bring things into resonance. And when you are in resonance, all the connected processes are also coming into resonance. And that's why I'm doing this matrix rhythm therapy. I use the body shivering that I activate, and this body shivering everybody has in has from nature. And when are we shivering? Always in extreme situations. That means when you have temperature, orthostatic collapses, when you are angry, or when you are just having a weight, then you are shivering.
Right.
And now the question is this shivering just an engine, like an engine noise, unnecessary, or is there a meaning behind? And we have just go to physiology and analyze what happens when the body is shivering. Basically, we have a basic tremor. When you have a strong coffee in the morning, you have a basic tremor. Or when it's starting to become cold, you also start, and then the amplitude gets higher and higher, and then we have the really shivering. And always when we are shivering, we are centralizing the liquids from the microcirculation, that means from on the lymphatic and venous pathway, the liquids are transported back to the heart, and so from the arterial side, from the heart side, you can go to this open space now, and so you change the water in the whole aquarium. And this means the logistics is starting. Fresh water comes to the microcirculation, to the surrounding of the cell, to the surrounding of the fishes, and so the fishes can recover. And this is now important when we are talking about energy.
All right.
So the question could be, where does the energy come from?
Right.
And the energy has to be produced in single cells. How does the cell do it? It needs metabolites, carbohydrates. This is the sugar. Or we need, or honey, or we have the proteins or the fatty acids. And what the body needs to make energy, also in an engine, you need the fuel and the burner. And the fuel in the body is, what I just said, is the nutrition. Could also be body revival, of course. And now we have to analyze what are the ingredients of body revival. Is this a special food with special energy? And this is the fuel, and the burner is the oxygen.
Yeah. So
And
it is more of like process-based therapy. You need to understand the process and as well as the problem. What is the real problem? Only then you will be able to find out the real solution of these problems.
And this is exactly the problem, the cancer, what the cancer problem is. Why does the body lose just energy? And before the system dies, it starts to replicate.
Yeah.
That means a tumor cell has too much to die and not enough to, too much to die and too much still and not enough to live properly. Yes? The tumor is something in between. And the classical medicine tries to kill, and now the complementary medicine tries to stabilize the immune system around, so that the immune system will attack these cells that haven't enough to survive.
Indeed, an information. It's really great to hear all these things. Please complete.
And this is exactly the small, I will not say battle, but the regulation of cells. Some cells have just passed the point of no return, and they will die, and the other ones can be stabilized. But important is that the nutrition will come not only to the cell surrounding via the extracellular matrix, but it has to come through the membrane of the cells to the mitochondria.
Okay.
And the mitochondria are the power stations of the cell.
Very well explained. Mr. Khan, how Dr. Randoll is explaining everything. I just want to understand how does body revival, if I ask, align with the matrix concept as explained by Dr. Randoll?
See, first of all, I would like to say that I'm going to definitely read the book what Dr. Randall has written, because he's being a researcher and doctor. He's explaining in such a easy way about the vibration, about the energy, about the cells, about the food the body
Exactly.
requires. So I'm very health conscious. I'm not a healthcare professional, but I understand what he's saying because I'm a health conscious person. I know what I watch, what I eat. I know that how these things works. That what you eat, what you become. So I'm definitely going to read the book, and thank you for explaining to us and everyone what your concepts and about body revival. See, body revival is made of 9 ingredients. These 9 ingredients, I will take the name in Hindi: ashgandha, majista, lodh, vach, and including honey. Some ingredients are like this, and these ingredients are not new ingredients in the concept. They are already research backed ingredients. If you go and see US FDA, the portal PubMed, you need to type the ingredient name, what body revival is made of, and you will be able to see multiple research on these individual ingredients. Now the body revival was created by taking all these individual ingredients, and it is a unique formulation invented by Shri Munir Khan, our company founder, and created in our factory under the supervision of doctors and lab technicians. So it becomes a unique formula, and again I would say that it works on overall body. It works for detoxification, and it boosts body's natural immunity, and gives a holistic approach to well-being.
Yeah. So as we were discussing earlier about the Ayurveda, and you were taking that how government of India is supporting this whole process,
Yes.
upfront pay, how it can become the mainstream thing. However, it was ignored big time, labeled as it has no scientific validation. So if it comes to now, how will you illustrate or say that what initiative Indian government has taken to support Ayurveda?
It's a very good question. See, I will not comment on the technical aspects of this, but as an individual, if you take asking for my opinion, ever since Ayush department has established in 2014, there have been initiative done by Indian government to boost the motivation of Ayurveda healthcare manufacturer or doctors. If you see recently, there is a WHO center established in Gujarat by Indian government. It is based for on integrative therapy, alternative therapy. It's not for allopathy or any other pathy,
Yeah,
but
supportive and
support. Yes,
alternative.
alternative therapy. Indian government is initiating award functions on a national level, on a private level, to boost motivation of Ayurveda healthcare professional. Last week of February 2025, Indian government, Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, mentioned details about the Ayurveda, how it should be research backed.
Yeah, in
How
his
I,
recent tweet, he has
yes,
discussed
if you have
everything, right?
seen
Yeah, yeah.
that tweet, that even the Ayurveda products and medicine should be research backed. You should do research. Once it is research backed, one there is a research human trial is conducted, and it becomes a evidence based. So yes, me as a representing my company, Health Reactive, as a CEO, I feel motivated by the honorable Indian government, and we try to do our best.
And when it comes to body revival, you have talked about the awards and everything. Body revival is a product which has received many awards now. Bharat Healthcare Awards, which is very renowned and very respected award. So, how do you feel? How, what sense it gives you when your product is receiving such a recognition it is getting?
See, receiving recognition, whether it is national by the private agencies or Indian government, it is itself is a very prestigious thing. I would say that sitting here with Dr. Nandol itself is an award today, and we receiving a Nav Bharat Healthcare Award for best brand in Ayurveda, which is itself Nav Bharat is a very well-known name in the industry. It gives us more motivation to do good work, and support the holistic wellness approach through body revival. And we try to do our best, and we will be doing our best.
Mr. Randoll, we have Mr. Khan with us. He's letting us know how Body Revival is doing the holistic approach to the health sector. And he has more than 25 years history, how this product is helping humankind with their natural resources and natural the therapy they are using. Ingredients yeah, they are using all are natural ingredients. So I would like to ask you advocate paradigm shifts. So how body revival get fits into that paradigm shift?
So this is not really the paradigm shift I'm talking about. So the paradigm shift I'm talking about is just going from structure to frequency, from the structure to process. And so we have to look more for the body processes. You can have, for example, the best body revivals in the lorry in the streets of Mumbai. When there's traffic jam, they will not arrive in the house where it's needed. Same could be with origins or everything. That means first you have, and now we have the construction in our body. Here's the street, this is the vessel. Then we have the house, this is just the cell. And in between the house and the street, or the microcirculation and the cell, we have a transit area, and this is the foregarden. And now when the cell or the people in the house are throwing all the dust outside the window, the rubbish, then the foregarden becomes more and more full, and if the car drivers throw everything out of the window, then the transit area is blocked, and the nice body revival and other nutrients cannot go from the cell, from this microcirculation, from the street to the house. And this is the problem that we have in all the cancer patients. That means at the end, the values that we measure in the blood are wonderful, but in the house it's horrible. And so the house people are suffering, but the capillaries are still normal. And this is the problem also sometimes in cancer patients, that you have nice blood probes, but the interstitial tissue and the cells, the parenchymal cells, in the breast or in the prostate or in squamous cells elsewhere, they are already suffering. And this is why you have to be first process manager. You have to open these spaces, and when it is free. In former times, we had the massage techniques. We also had in Ayurveda these vibro massage techniques like this. And now we can say what we are copying with our device that we constructed, the matrix rhythm therapy, is the natural shivering of the body. We simulate the shivering with our device like it is given by God in everybody of us. And it's interesting that all of us have the same synchronization frequencies, and this correlates directly to the Earth frequency. This is the so-called Schumann resonances. So we are, at the end, an orchestra as human bodies in the big orchestra of the cosmos, you can say. And this is what I mean now, that this is reality, and we have chairs at the universities of chronobiology, and just reflect the moon rhythm is correlated to the 28 rhythm of the circle of women, and then we have also ebb and flow from the moon 20 every day, That means there are big interaction of these rhythms, and the consequence is that I start with treatment of the rhythm, and then of course we need something to eat that is full of energy. And now, for example, you can eat a cake. And now, why does the cake taste wonderful? Because of all the ingredients that are in the cake. When I give you one after the other, first 5 eggs to eat, then some grain, then this, do you think this cake will nicely taste? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And
It will be the same.
And now we come to a substance like body revival. Body revival is a very complex component. And now I would like, for example, to know how it was found out, the different percentages of ingredients. Was it just by taste, or what kind of experiments were done? Or just was it a dream, or just random? How did it come to these percentages? Like in a cake, I take not 3 eggs, I take 4 eggs. or I take such amount of other stuff, so that the taste of the cake is good, and at the end we have to say if that the body revival is full of energy for at the end the mitochondria, because these power stations in the cell, they have to produce the energy. And we know all, for example, that propolis or the honey is full of very defined glucose, I will say sugar in general. And for example, are there different other, I will say, substances from different trees that are used, and to stimulate the immune system, we need, for example, some toxins in a certain amount. If it's too much, it's poisoning, really. But if it's just stimulating for the immune system, like other injections we have, to stimulate immune system. So these are the questions I would like to talk with you and the founder of the substance. And then, of course, it is then at the end it's clear, that we don't have also proof single substances.
They have just completed their clinical trial and whether
the clinical trial is just in the whole cake and the whole remedy. Yes. But the classical medicine is asking, what does every ingredient of the cake do?
So that's what I was telling you, that every ingredient has been researched back. So if you just go online and search about, for example, ashwagandha, magista, loth, honey, you will find multiple researches done, and what each ingredient does on human body. You will find multiple problems being solved with these ingredients. Now, I want to know as a because I've become very interesting knowing the metric rhythm therapy and the vibration, because I am a strong believer of energy. I believe that God is a energy. Whether you call it Allah, you call it Ishwar, you call it Jesus, it's an energy. So there are positive and negative
actually.
energy. So I become very interesting while when Dr. Randoll was explaining. I want to know how can I get this benefit of matrix therapy in Mumbai, or how do we connect to someone. So if someone wants to use it, because it's so interesting and something all different than the conventional treatment.
Yes. So what I can say in general, I'm specialized for logistics. And then, of course, we have to decide, do we want to suppress a system or do we want to regenerate it? So body revival wants to regenerate it, yes? So a healthy body you cannot make more healthy. That means there is no effect with body revival on someone who is full of energy, because if the fuel is full, you cannot make it more full. But if the fuel is less, then, of course, substances like I once tested years ago one of your father's bottles, and it was not enough, But I can say it doesn't harm.
Yes.
And I felt also not bad, But I in general feel healthy. And now, of course, we should really make trials on patients that are suffering.
Yes.
Because they have the most benefit. A healthy person you cannot make more healthy.
So absolutely, our further clinical trials are going on. How Dr. Randoll said that he didn't feel bad. So our main criteria while getting this clinical trial done was that whether the patient is able to tolerate body revival or not. So yes, they were able to tolerate. What is the benefit they are getting? So their benefit is mentioned. Now our further clinical trial is going on, and our R&D team is working on it with the doctors and scientists, and they are working on non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Along with we are being proposed to go for a clinical trial on heart disease as well. So what I'm saying is this: body revival is not for from any particular disease. It doesn't work on. It works on a human
If I
body.
interrupt, Mr. Randall is saying, Dr. Randall is saying, ki it differs person to person.
Yes.
The effect can be different from one person to another person.
Absolutely.
So, like, if I want to know, if I want to have an understanding of it, so the body revival is only for the cancer patients, or it can be used by another people also as a normal
See,
supplement.
body revival is a product. You can call it a multi-powerful immunity booster and detoxifier. It can be given to any person. Of course, any supplement or anything when you're consuming, you should consult your healthcare professional and not just go by the words of your friends or family or anyone. Healthcare professional are the right person to suggest you, but it can be given to anyone as per our experience. And a clinical trial has been done because we believe evidence-based product.
Okay. So, Dr. Randoll, I would like to ask one question. Like I ask you health and disease. Here, another thing comes in my mind, which I really want to, would love to read it, because here it is very different from other, like you advocate paradigm shift, and Mr. Khan is representing the body revival. What do you think about these medicines which are just replacing or on standing against the permanent therapies or against the traditional therapies?
Well, there are different strategies. Mostly, the classical medicine is fighting against. Of course, we have also, meanwhile, some immune modulators on molecular level and all these things. But they have also side effects. And so, the things, I will say, we have to follow always the path of physiology and pathophysiology. That is important. That means, how does a normal body heal or keeps itself alive? That means every day we are producing billions of new cells. And when we have an inflammation, for example, how does the body deal with inflammation? That means there's a self-organization in the body and a control system called immune system, that it's like the police that is controlling every time, are the processing running well, and what can we repair if something is defect. So at the end, it's always the self-healing that is caring for the healing processes, the self-organization. It's the self-organization that is healing, the self-organization is responsible for the healing processes. And this self-organization has to be guaranteed by freedom of molecules, atoms, cells. So at the end, the body elasticity is decisive for the healing and for the healing status, for the health status. When you are not elastic in your body, something is going wrong. When you have sticky areas, contractions, or something is stuck in mind, body also, it can also be in the mind, then of course it doesn't regulate. It's like the roly-poly here. I have it here on this picture. You see directly here the roly-poly in the middle, and when the elasticity is not there, if it is stuck somewhere here, then this is the pathological state.
Okay.
And now we have to deload it, and then the system is elastic again, and the elasticity of the body is now a parameter of health.
Okay. So one more thing, nowadays, like we are this, like body revival is also dealing with different sort of diseases also. And as Mr. Randoll is talking about the paradigm shift or the medicines, the therapy based, frequency based. So nowadays the autoimmune problems are so much in market. People are having these diseases. Why it happens when the disturbance of frequency, the body cells are affected. That's why these autoimmune problems are having this much nowadays.
So nowadays we have a lot of disturbances of this orchestra called human body. We have electrical frequencies, we have acoustic frequencies, we have even in the restaurants in the evenings, we have loud music. And when you have always these stressors, 24 hours, the body cannot recover anymore. It's like a sponge, You're getting harder and harder and harder, and you cannot sleep anymore. You come more and more into these burnouts, and you are not receptive anymore because every day is just a fight. And at the end, the weakest point just produces the first symptom. This can be the stomach, this can be tinnitus in the ear, this can be in the jaws, maxillofacial problems, in grinding, and you have always the headaches, the migraines, the back pain, the low back pain, because you are getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. That means you are losing your elasticity from stress, from chronic stress, and this is increasing, and people have no idea how to relax. Even in holidays, they go for stress at the end, Nobody goes out into nature, just trekking, hiking, all these things, I do this regularly. I'm very often in Austria, Switzerland, the weekends, there's just nature. I hear the birds by walking for hours, and this is the regeneration of the body, so the contracted areas just release.
Yeah. So, what is your take, Mr. Khan? Like, if it comes to autoimmune problems, so people are suffering from depression, and as well as these problems like depression and stress. So, how can be a body revival's role? What will be the body
See
revival's
again,
role in
Purnima.
these
I think
problems?
what Dr. Randoll has said, he's a professional, he's a doctor, healthcare professional. He can comment on that. I not a healthcare professional. I can't comment on that. But I agree with him because what he's saying that people go in nature and even in holidays when we go. I will only talk about that, doctor. That it's with my personal experience when we go on holiday on a beaches or in jungle, we are taking shots, we are making reels, we are clicking pictures, we are not enjoying. How he's saying that I listen to birds, and I'm just realizing after hearing it, that's true. Even when we go on a holiday, we are not relaxing, we are engaged somewhere. The body is not relaxed at all.
Yes. And so I come now to your old tradition because you had everything in your country. And why Europeans, Germans go to India for Ayurveda cures, what they like is the massage. And the massage techniques have totally forgotten in the Western medicine. Also, in Ayurveda, they are promoting the yoga, and this is the active part. But nobody is promoting the massage part. I prefer the massage part. Just being there, getting treatment 1 hour, 2 hours with oil, with stamps, with all these things to release, and this is the parasympathetic system that is rising, and when this is not stimulated, the immune system cannot work, and then we can take remedies, it will not bring the body to the relaxation. Even when people are now getting massage, they have the mobile beside and are looking on the mobile while they get the massage. This is nonsense.
Yeah.
So we really have to activate the parasympathetic system, and this is the disease. Nobody does it, and this makes chronic stress, and that means that we have an increasing of tumors, chronic diseases, fibromyalgia, rheumatism, all these things, because at the end everything is stuck, and this comes more and more in young ages. So just tell Modi, when you just took his name in your mouth before, he should activate the massage techniques, and everybody should preventively get, every employee should get preventively.
He's very watchful for sure. He's going to mind this also whenever he'll feel
Yes.
like whenever someone is suggesting something and in finding genuine, he'll definitely go for
Yeah,
that. He
that-
was very watchful.
Yes.
So I would like to ask you one question from your research. Is life more like structure or a process based? And why this distinction is important in modern science?
You mean, at the end you can say that as long as the system is alive, structures do not exist. Because even the bone is in a high turnover, so the bone is also processed. You can see this, for example, when you have a fracture in your arm. Then you make, in former times, you made just a plaster around, and then after 3-4 days you make an X-ray, you directly see the bone loss. The bone density has shifted. And this is, for example, what happens in osteoporosis, that the circulation in the bone gets less because the muscle gets stiff, and so you get high acidosis, the pH changes, and so the enzymes that react in this pH, they just will reduce the bone density. So at the end, as long as you are alive, you are always a process, and this gives always the hope that you can heal. That means never say, oh, it's hopeless and we cannot do anything. As long as the system is alive, even when the disease is really decompensated like this, then of course you can shift it back if you by motivation, by changing the things, maybe also by body revival, because
So only changing your lifestyle can
Absolutely.
you
Even I
change?
believe that we are designed
Yeah.
to heal ourselves, whether
Yeah.
the supportive therapy is a matrix therapy or by taking body revival or any other therapy. But yes, as long as we are alive, we are designed to heal ourselves. I
Okay.
believe.
And can I sum up in the way that people have not a basic understanding of problem? That's why they're not getting a right solution.
they have not understood the manual of life. Unfortunately, when you are born, you don't get the manual of life like when you buy a car, there's the manual. And before you are allowed to drive, you have to read the manual. So people just are born and then they eat with what the advertisement says. And this is sometimes not so good for the human body. And so I really would appreciate if these old traditions in India would
Right.
really have a not only body revival, or
Absolutely.
if you do the research, then of course this will revival the body of everyone when you go back to the roots of your culture.
Right.
This would be really great to do this. And as you see how powerful a remedy can be, like body revival, I just have looked a little bit to the research, and it is done, and this is a wonderful beginning, and this should be continued. We have to admire the nature. We are a product of nature and not a product from a company. Yes?
Absolutely.
This we have to consider. And so nature heals, and everything that we do from companies is just mostly a bad copy of something, and mostly it has many, many side effects.
And we can
So
talk. Yeah, please.
he's right that bad copy of something. So that's what the founder of company, my father, Mr. Munish Khan's vision was, that we have a capacity of making 200 products, but from past 20 years we are only manufacturing body revival, because he believed that there is one body, and if it heals itself, detoxification happens. So the product is, he never made this product for any particular disease.
Right. And this is great to hear. And one more thing, like we can compare this situation as we are talking about that you are going back to your roots can be a huge change. So, like when we were struggling against COVID, people have seen that many of culture in the countries have went back to their heritage, their culture, and they picked out the natural therapies. So it is really great to for all the societies and countries to just go back to your basics, your roots, and find out the real solution is hidden there.
Yes, so we are always talking about sustainable systems. What is sustainable at the end? Human beings are coming and going, but what stays is the nature. And so we have to study the processes of life, and this is called, in a scientific word, physiology.
Right.
But pharmaceutical industry does not accept anymore the basics of physiology. And this is the reason why the medical industrial complex becomes more and more expensive, and the results we can talk about. Sometimes I saw that we stopped the remedies and patients got better. And this just brought me to another way of thinking. That was my paradigm shift, to just not shout, but go other ways. And now I found out that the process management of cellular systems, in the sense of producing coherence in the vibration, that the single cells, like the musicians in the orchestra, when it's a disease, they are playing chaotically. But now they need a conductor and bringing the right order to the right rhythm in the system, and so the processes are conducted, and then they produce effectivity, and this is a wonderful, effective life then.
Yeah. So one more thing, like we are talking about the disease, problems, and solution. So when just a common understanding I need to have, when you have all the solution have with you with alternative therapy, or you can say the mainstream therapy, allopathic. So why people should go for these therapies?
For the
For the like matrix concept or the body revival, like allopathy is there to serve you with each and every problem. So what is the need of R to go from this therapy to just adapt a new therapy, like you said, natural ones?
So there's no need at all. It's like another dish on the table, and the individual has to decide where he goes. And of course, the government, for example, or the insurances can decide what they will pay. In the so-called school medicine, I always say this is just the medicine that is paid.
Yeah.
But it is not, it must not be true. What is the truth, So you can make many studies, and at the end, after 10 years, we see that some studies were made totally wrong, even published in Nature and in Science, so high-ranked papers. At the end, somebody cheated, for example. At the end, it's a question of the individuality and about the consciousness. For example, I don't eat remedies normally. Just I have maybe some vitamins, but I enjoy here in your country the coconut water. Nobody drinks coconut water here. You have everything in the coconut water. You have all the trace elements inside. You have also the energy level, the redox potential, and the pH correctly in the coconut water. That is the best you can do. People drink sugar drinks and all these things. They go to fast food chains, and this is exactly a question of consciousness and education.
Right. As I would like to ask the same question with
My
you, Dr.
point of view, Purnima, is this is individual choice. What pathy they want to approach, whether it's matrix, whether it's Ayurveda, homeopathy, or allopathy, it's individual choice or as per their healthcare professional advice. But I believe that anything, whether it is matrix or body revival or anything, it should be research backed, science backed. Even the government supports if your pathy is science backed, what you're doing, whether it is a vibration therapy, it is science backed, and I believe that's what Dr. Randall is saying. So if as long as it's a research backed and science evidence is there, so it's individual choice what pathy they want to adapt.
Scientific validation is very
It's
important
very
for
important.
when we are.
So there's always, I will say, evidence of experience. The whole evolution is not scientific. It's just given by God. He did not make a double-blind randomized study about evolution. It's just given. And you are unique, you are unique, all of them are unique. That means that we have to study the principles, and then, of course, we have to treat the principles. And this is what I do. I don't care anymore about symptoms anymore, because the symptoms are all produced in our mindset of human beings. The cell can only regulate dependent from the environment. And the only thing that I can do is to optimize the environment. And now if we have powerful substances like body revival, this will just be a speed up the energy for the body. It's like putting fuel into the fire. And so you have more energy, and that means the cell can produce more energy on the membrane. And when you have a charged membrane potential, this will stop the mitosis. Very, very simple. And so his father had the experience, and he saw it. And why should he lie, for example? Why should he do a study when he sees it? When you eat a cake and you say this is a lovely cake, why should you prove it? You like it, you taste it, and you just recommend it to your family or elsewhere. Should you prove it first? And today you like the cake, but tomorrow you dislike it. So our taste also changes. That means when you measure scientifically, do you like the cake today?
Do you?
I agree.
agree?
See what he's saying is absolutely right. Like for body revival, we have experience evidence from 28 years. Like our customer, our users were taking this, and we have evidence that is experience evidence. But in the world, they believe in documentary evidence.
Right,
So that's what I was.
You have to do both from both sides.
So
You have
now
to do
we
it from
have
both sides, you know.
Okay, like you both.
At the end, when you shoot the goal,
Yeah.
then you have won.
Right. Very well said. So I just want to have one thing from both of you. See, we have reached a point where we have understood the concept of matrix concept as well as the body revival, how it works. If I want to change the role of both of you, like if Mr. Dr. Randall has to represent the body revival and you have to present the concept of matrix, how would you do? As per your understanding, what is body revival?
So the first is everything I recommend I have to test for myself. This is the first thing I would do, just to test it myself. And then, of course, I can recommend my feelings, you know. And then I would just start with the patient suffering from this. And maybe, again, when I have no answer for this and this disease, then, of course, I'm still alive when I have taken maybe 2 probes from body revival. Then I can take the risk as a medical doctor, so to also try it. I'm still alive, so he will also be alive, and maybe he has a benefit similar to me or to something others, and so slowly it starts. This is how I also invented matrix rhythm therapy. So it was just the idea, and then you had a tool. And by the way, you asked me why I am coming to India, but maybe we answer this in the next question, because my question first was, you gave to me, how would I deal with body revival? So just first, always do it on yourself, and then of course you can recommend.
Likewise, if I'm talking about metrics, what I have understood, not in detail I can speak, but it works on a cellular level. It works on a nervous system, and you don't need any medication with it. It is working on a vibration, which is a proven science as per the research.
It's physiological.
Yeah, physiological. It's a research backed therapy, and it's a unique therapy. And I believe that people always adapt a unique therapy and like to experience a unique therapy. So that's what I've understood about the matrix, and it's wonderful. And I've even being in this podcast, I've learned about something unique called matrix therapy, and I would definitely, if I get a chance to go for this therapy, I would definitely go, because there is no harm. There is it's all giving positive vibes to you. That's working on vibration. And since he explained how the human body has vibration, it's right that when you wake up in the morning, you have different vibration, and when you're scared, when you are angry, you have different vibration, and body heals itself. So all those concepts is absolutely unique.
Dr. Randoll is completely impressed with your matrix concept. What response do you get worldwide when you represent or just explain your therapy?
So people are more and more interested, because they see that classical medicine is failing in many things, even I get more and more patients from huge hospitals from Switzerland coming to Munich, and they said they cannot do anything anymore on my spine, on my hip, on my knee, and so on, and because they are looking for the pain in the bone. And I'm just prescribing that the pain is not coming from bone structure, it is coming from the tendon area, from the soft tissue. And this matrix rhythm therapy is just optimizing, by producing energy in the muscle cells, the elasticity. And so it is very simple healing. And this is not seen from the classical side. So I come more from the massage side, from the soft tissue, and the others come just from the X-ray, enema, and so on. And this is the new way, the new shift that we have. And that's the reason why I'm coming also to India. Since 15 years I'm in India. And I'm very happy. I just had a huge workshop in Pune. I just returned yesterday from Pune. And now I'm very happy that even my students are telling me the story about matrix rhythm therapy, and with the wonderful wordings they have understood the behind I will say the physics, the biology behind, and the results that they are getting since many years are amazing. So even the surgeons are more and more shocked that by looking to the micro areas of the cells and starting the treatment on the cell level, that the results are amazing. And also here in Mumbai, there's a huge center. There's the German Matrix Center in Mulund, and I would just now recommend everybody who is just interested, just give a call there, make an appointment, test it, and then you can say it's nonsense or good.
So it is great to hear that how the approach from Dr. Randoll's side, and what response he's getting from not only from India, worldwide. How do you illustrate this?
See, absolutely. What Dr. Randoll is saying, see, this is a clinical trial I was talking about, body revival. So,
I would like to show to my viewers also.
how Dr. Randoll is saying that.
This is a book where clinical
This is a
trial,
thesis of clinical trial, yeah.
Okay, health reactive clinical development. All right.
So how now the conventional doctors have started sending their patient to matrix, because they started believing the uniqueness of this therapy, and it's the working. Similarly, when we have experience of 28 years with body revival, it works internally, okay, on a cellular level, detoxification, immunity boosting. But when we gave this to the investigators for the clinical trial, they were surprised how it is working. Now, similarly, we are receiving customers from conventional doctors when they are giving oncologists giving chemotherapy or radiotherapy to the patient, and they have gone through this clinical trial. They see that it reduces the side effects of, as per the mention in the clinical trial, that body revival subside the side effects of chemotherapy and radiotherapy.
So it works along with chemotherapy.
Yes, as per the clinical trial,
Clinical
it
trial,
does.
okay.
Yes. So they are sending their patients to our office where our doctor see them.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So yes.
It's a great thing to hear. Like we have alternative supportive therapy for cancer patients also. Like we have reached a point where I just want to ask both of you if you want to give any suggestion to the healthcare profession who want to establish themselves in a medical field, like related to body revival or like metric concept. What your suggestion will be
To the young people, you mean?
to the young people?
To the young people, oh, this is very important. The youth is the future, and they have to start with the right books, with the right studies, and so they have to study again Ayurveda, the principles of Ayurveda, because the so-called scientific medicine we have just since 100 years, there it starts. And before we had thousands of years other views in medicine, and so we have to look to the experiences of our ancestors, and then of course with the most advanced tools we should prove the evidence, that means the evidence of experience of our ancestors. And then we have a sustainable system because we just copy, optimize the nature. And this is the new way, or this is on what means new way. This is how medicine would become very interesting for youngsters, because they start thinking again and do not just do the copy paste and multiple choice things. And so they are really connected to the nature, to the patient, and patients are part of nature, as I always say. And so they perceive really what the patient is thinking, feeling, and what he shows. This is very important.
Yeah, nature are the best remedies. What's your take?
My take is that if, as a health directive CEO, if I want to give suggestion to new CEOs, whether you are leading your own company or you're working in another company as a CEO, first of all, believe in the product. Which, if you're going to launch a new product or you're already working on a new product, first of all, you need to believe on that product, whether it's Ayurveda, especially because we are from Ayurveda field. And secondly, work on a research based product. If your product is already in the market, do get scientific evidence, because it's really works wonderful for you. And evidence based products is always appreciated, so work on that.
So that's all. I think we have got enough to have a better understanding related to medical field, Ayurveda, as well as the matrix concept. Thank you so much, both of you gentlemen,
Thank
for
you so much
coming
for
here and
having me
giving
here.
us an
Thank you so much, Dr.
insight.
Randall.
So
Thank you.
thank you so much, Dr. Randoll and Mr. Khan, for sharing your insights and expertise with us today. It's clear that both of you are not only advancing medical science, but are also committed to creating a healthier, more self aware society. To our listeners, if you want to learn more about the metric concept, body revival, and the incredible work being done by our guests, please visit the links provided in the description. Stay tuned for more enlightening conversation, and remember, true health begins with knowledge and the courage to embrace new paradigms. Thank you for joining us today.